The Bank of England has warned to prepare for alien US disclosure. The possibility of official alien disclosure is no longer confined to speculative corners of the internet. According to a former analyst from the Bank of England, confirmation of non-human intelligence could trigger dramatic consequences across global financial systems, including a sudden rush into Bitcoin. The analyst warned that such a revelation could unleash extreme price volatility, driven by widespread catastrophizing or overwhelming euphoria, ultimately leading to a collapse in confidence in traditional markets. In moments of profound uncertainty, people historically seek alternatives that exist outside government control, and digital assets could become a focal point of that reaction. This warning arrives only months after the release of The Age of Disclosure, a documentary that has ignited an unprecedented wave of public speculation. The film's appearance has coincided with renewed political intrigue, with many openly wondering whether President Trump could become the leader who finally acknowledges the long-rumored presence of non-human intelligence. The timing has amplified the impact of the discussion, pushing it far beyond casual curiosity and into the realm of serious global consideration. For many observers, the world now appears to be approaching a threshold moment. The documentary features extraordinary statements from high-level officials that suggest secrecy around unidentified aerial phenomena has been deliberately maintained for decades. This sense that hidden truths may soon surface has reshaped how people view institutions, authority, and even the nature of reality itself. In such an environment, financial behavior becomes deeply psychological, shaped as much by belief and emotion as by data. At the center of this unfolding moment is the documentary's director, Dan Farah. Growing up during the 1980s and 1990s, Farah was immersed in a cultural landscape saturated with extraterrestrial narratives. In a recent interview with The Guardian, he explained that those early influences planted a lasting curiosity about whether humanity is truly alone and whether governments have quietly guarded that knowledge. Over time, that curiosity evolved into a professional mission to explore the truth behind the mystery. Farah's background as a Hollywood producer, including work alongside Steven Spielberg, gave him both the resources and experience to approach such a complex subject. Spielberg himself has long expressed fascination with the idea of non-human life, a theme reflected throughout his career. His creative legacy reinforces the idea that humanity's story may extend far beyond Earth, shaping public imagination for generations. Big update regarding the mysterious tridactyls. The recent tridactyl announcement has emerged as one of the most unsettling and transformative developments in modern archaeological and biological research. At the center of this unfolding mystery is a detailed comparative analysis conducted by Dr. Fung, who utilized advanced computed tomography data to examine both human skeletal structures and those belonging to the tridactyl specimens. The resulting comparison has proven impossible to dismiss. The contrast between a human foot and the feet of the specimen known as Montserrat reveals differences that extend far beyond the simple absence of two toes. The entire skeletal framework is fundamentally distinct, from bone proportions and joint alignment to the overall structural organization of the foot itself. This discovery challenges earlier attempts to explain the specimens as altered human remains. The tridactyl feet do not resemble modified human bones, nor do they align with known congenital conditions. Instead, the architecture suggests a unique biological blueprint, one that developed according to a different anatomical logic. The joints articulate in unfamiliar ways, weight distribution follows a different pattern, and the skeletal symmetry indicates intentional biological design rather than surgical alteration or assembly. What has elevated this case from curiosity to profound revelation is the convergence of multiple scientific disciplines. Genetic analysis, bioinformatics, and high-resolution scanning technologies have collectively transformed the discussion. Researchers announced that preserved soft tissue, muscles, and even internal organs remain within the mummified bodies. Such preservation is extraordinary given the immense age of the remains and has allowed scientists to conduct biological examinations previously thought impossible. These tissues show coherence and continuity, reinforcing the conclusion that the bodies were once living organisms rather than constructed artifacts. Perhaps the most startling revelation was the discovery that one specimen had been pregnant at the time of passing. This finding offers unprecedented evidence that these beings experienced life cycles, reproduction, and biological development. The presence of gestation reshapes the conversation entirely, forcing a reconsideration of long-held assumptions about ancient life and the boundaries of known human diversity. Bioinformatics specialist Elena Hardy has played a central role in analyzing the genetic data. Her work began with skepticism, aiming to disprove the notion that the unusual anatomy could be explained through genetics. She examined polydactyly, a condition associated with extra digits, and identified a mutation in the GLI3 gene, which is linked to such traits. While this discovery offered partial insight, it failed to explain the extensive skeletal deviations seen throughout the body, particularly in joint formation and bone density. Genetic testing revealed that much of the DNA aligns with human genetic profiles, though contamination and degradation posed challenges typical of ancient samples. Researchers carefully extracted material from bone and muscle tissue using techniques designed for fragile remains. These fragments were sequenced and reconstructed through advanced computational tools, allowing comparison with known terrestrial organisms. While some genetic segments initially defied classification, further analysis suggested they too originated from Earth-based life. Mysterious photograph taken at the Glasgow Transport Museum. This strange photograph has become one of the most compelling modern examples of a possible time anomaly captured by chance. The image was taken by a tourist visiting the Glasgow Transport Museum, a place dedicated to preserving vehicles from earlier eras. While photographing a historic tram that now serves as a static exhibit, the photographer noticed nothing unusual at the time. It was only later, upon reviewing the image, that an unexpected figure appeared seated inside the tram, clearly visible through the window. What makes this image particularly unsettling is the fact that the tram is not operational. It is sealed as part of a museum display, with all access points reportedly locked and monitored. There should have been no one inside. Yet the photograph shows what appears to be a man dressed in clothing consistent with an earlier period, sitting calmly, as if the tram were still in active service. His posture is relaxed, his gaze fixed forward, completely unaware of the modern world around him. Those who have studied the image note that the figure does not resemble a reflection or a trick of light. The clarity, depth, and placement of the individual suggest a physical presence rather than a photographic artifact. Museum staff confirmed that no reenactments, mannequins, or staff members were present inside the tram at the time the photograph was taken. This has led many to believe that the image captured something far more extraordinary. The idea that the rider could be a passenger from another time has fascinated researchers and historians alike. Some suggest the tram itself may act as a kind of residual imprint, holding moments from its past and occasionally allowing them to surface. Others believe the photograph may represent a brief overlap between eras, where past and present momentarily intersected. What was meant to be a simple souvenir photograph has instead become a haunting reminder that history may not be as distant as it seems. The mystery of the Westall High School UFO. The Westall High School UFO sighting stands as one of the most extraordinary and well-documented unexplained aerial encounters in Australian history. The event took place in Melbourne during the 1960s and unfolded in broad daylight, witnessed by an unusually large number of people. Unlike many sightings that rely on a single observer or vague testimony, the Westall incident involved students, teachers, and local residents, all describing a remarkably consistent sequence of events. At approximately 11 in the morning, students at Westall High School noticed a strange object moving silently across the sky above the school grounds. The object was described as disc-shaped and roughly twice the size of an average car. Witnesses recalled that it appeared to shimmer with a faint purple hue, giving it an otherworldly appearance that immediately drew attention. As the object descended, it seemed to hover briefly before leveling out and traveling low over the school, eventually disappearing behind a line of nearby trees. As the sighting continued, more students rushed onto the school field, alerted by the commotion. Estimates suggest that up to 200 individuals may have witnessed the event. For roughly 20 minutes, attention remained fixed on the area where the object had vanished. Then, without warning, the craft re-emerged, rising rapidly into the sky before accelerating away at an incredible speed. Some witnesses also reported seeing 5 smaller aircraft appear shortly afterward, seemingly in pursuit of the departing object. The mystery deepened when the area behind the trees was examined. Investigators discovered 3 distinct patches of scorched grass, arranged in a pattern that suggested something had rested there briefly. These marks did not resemble ordinary fire damage and appeared localized and deliberate. Shortly after this discovery, individuals believed to be part of a military unit arrived at the scene. They conducted their own examinations, cordoned off sections of the area, and displayed a level of urgency that alarmed many observers. Accounts differ regarding what happened next, but several sources agree that nearby structures, including a barn, were either heavily searched or later destroyed. What remains consistent across testimonies is the behavior of the authorities in the days that followed. Students and staff members reported receiving visits at their homes. They were warned not to discuss what they had seen, and those who had already spoken openly were allegedly cautioned about serious consequences. The intense response from officials suggested that the event was far more than a misunderstanding or misidentified object. The effort to silence witnesses, combined with physical evidence at the landing site, has led many to believe that authorities were fully aware of what occurred and sought to control the narrative. Dr. Villaroel's discovery. Dr. Beatrice Villaroel's recent study has taken the scientific community by surprise, introducing a discovery so significant that, if confirmed, it could rewrite everything humanity thought it knew about space, technology, and our place in the universe. Her research, published under the title Aligned Multiple Transient Events in the First Palomar Sky Survey, presents evidence of what appears to be a vast and coordinated network of artificial objects in high Earth orbit, captured in photographs taken between the years 1949 and 1958, a full decade before the launch of Sputnik and the official dawn of human spaceflight. These findings are not merely interesting, they are staggering in their implications. The study is based on an in-depth analysis of the first Palomar Sky Survey, a historical archive of astronomical photographs collected well before humanity had the ability to place objects in orbit. Dr. Villaroel's team examined hundreds of thousands of images from this sky survey, seeking out flashes of light that appeared suddenly and then vanished just as quickly. These flashes, amounting to nearly 300,000 separate events, were too brief to be stars or cosmic phenomena, and too frequent and organized to be dismissed as photographic error. More than 298,000 short-lived flashes of light were catalogued across these plates. Upon closer inspection, many of these flashes were aligned and occurred simultaneously across various sections of the sky. Their characteristics were consistent with sunlight reflecting off metallic surfaces, suggesting that they were solid, physical objects orbiting Earth. These objects, according to the team's calculations, were located approximately 40,000 to 80,000 kilometers above Earth, placing them in high orbit, decades before humanity possessed rockets capable of reaching even low Earth orbit. One of the most critical aspects of the study was a simple, yet decisive test. If these flashes were caused by photographic errors or cosmic rays, they would appear regardless of lighting conditions. However, when the suspected objects were within Earth's shadow, known as the umbra, the flashes completely vanished. When the same regions were illuminated by the sun, the flashes returned. This ruled out anomalies in the photographic plates themselves and strongly supported the conclusion that these were physical objects reflecting sunlight. The scientific weight of this discovery becomes undeniable when considering the statistical result of the analysis. The team recorded a result of 22 sigma, an almost unimaginable level of certainty in physics. For comparison, a 3 sigma finding is considered noteworthy. A 5 sigma result is required to confirm a new discovery, but 22 sigma, that is beyond extraordinary. It is a number so large that the likelihood of this being a coincidence is estimated at 1 in 10 to the power of 70, a number so small it effectively equates to 0. In the world of science, this level of certainty is considered definitive. When researchers say 22 sigma, they are not suggesting or speculating. They are declaring that the phenomenon is real. And this phenomenon is no minor blip. It is not 1 or 2 strange lights in the sky. It is a massive, organized array of artificial objects, hundreds of thousands of them, aligned and coordinated in a way that suggests intention and design. This is infrastructure, and it was there before humans had even left the atmosphere. Adding further weight to the implications, several of these flashes line up with major unidentified aerial phenomena events in Earth's history. One particularly strong signal, at 3.9 sigma, corresponds with the well-known Washington, D.C. UFO incident of 1952, when multiple unidentified objects appeared over the United States Capitol. Another aligns with the massive surge in UFO sightings across Europe in 1954, especially in France and Italy. These coincidences hint at a possible connection between what was happening in Earth's skies and what was orbiting silently above. But perhaps the most chilling element of this story is what occurred at Harvard University. Between the years 1953 and 1968, there exists a conspicuous 15-year gap in Harvard's otherwise continuous astronomical photographic records. This missing period, known among researchers as the Menzel Gap, began just as Palomar was recording its extraordinary data. Dr. Donald H. Menzel, then director of the Harvard Observatory, abruptly shut down the plate program and ordered the destruction of hundreds of thousands of photographic plates, without examining them. These plates would have provided crucial overlap with Dr. Villarroel's data, potentially confirming her findings across two major observatories. Dr. Menzel was more than a scientist. He had strong connections to United States intelligence agencies and was a vocal skeptic of UFOs. His decision to halt the program and destroy the data has long puzzled researchers. In light of Dr. Villarroel's findings, it raises serious questions. Was this simply a scientific redirection, or was it a calculated move to erase evidence of something humanity was not ready to understand? The timing is too precise to ignore. What Dr. Villarroel's study implies is not merely the presence of unidentified flying objects. It suggests the existence of a fully constructed surveillance grid in orbit around Earth, built long before human technology was capable of achieving such a feat. If the objects in the photographs are not natural and they are not man-made, the conclusion becomes inevitable. Something else put them there. This changes the conversation entirely. This is not about isolated sightings, scattered encounters, or single mysterious crafts. This is about an enduring, deliberate presence above our planet. A network capable of watching, observing, and perhaps even interacting with the surface below. A presence that predated our ability to reach for the stars, and yet chose to remain hidden in plain sight. The implications are profound. If we have in fact been watched for decades, perhaps longer, then humanity is not just discovering a new scientific truth, but facing an entirely new relationship with the universe. This is no longer a question of if, it becomes a question of who and why. Who built this network? Why are they observing us, and what have they learned? Dr. Villarroel's work does not provide the answers to these questions, but it does something perhaps even more important. It forces us to ask them. The night something attacked Colaris Island. The series of events commonly known as the Colaris Islands invasion, occurring between the summer of 1977 and continuing into 1978, stands out as one of the most significant periods of UFO activity ever documented. Over the course of several months, numerous encounters unfolded, capturing the attention of not only UFO researchers, but also leading to an official intervention by the Brazilian Air Force. Each encounter, though seemingly connected by a common thread, brought forth a plethora of new details that intrigued investigators. Prior to the military's involvement in the area, a variety of encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena had already drawn interest and speculation. This concentrated and prolonged period of UFO activity in Colaris remains a subject that continues to fascinate and perplex researchers to this day. In a scenario involving the military acknowledging significant injuries sustained by island residents, some researchers took it a step further, contending that fatalities might have also occurred. Additionally, speculation arose within the UFO research community, suggesting that a staggering figure of over 400 individuals might have fallen victim to having their blood drained by these mysterious unidentified flying objects. This particular incident, occurring off the coast of Brazil, briefly created the impression, especially for those directly impacted, that an actual invasion was underway, leading to grave consequences. The event captured a transient moment in time marked by unsettling circumstances and fueled suspicions of extraterrestrial involvement. The incident that took place on Colaris Island holds significant relevance in the realm of UFO sightings and discussions about advanced beings. It has the potential to unveil a narrative that extends beyond mere extraterrestrial encounters, possibly involving covert activities concealed amidst the focus on proving the existence of alien life forms. This event raises questions about why unknown entities seem to be targeting unsuspecting residents in the fishing villages of northern Brazil. Delving into the intricacies of this incident may reveal layers of complexity that go beyond surface-level UFO sightings, shining light on potential motives and ramifications that transcend conventional understandings of extraterrestrial visitations. On the fateful evening of October 29th, while the husband and his pregnant wife were unwinding in the comfort of their living room, a disc-shaped craft unexpectedly appeared outside their window. Subsequently, a green laser beam penetrated through the window, rendering the couple immobile. To intensify the eerie scenario, two unfamiliar entities intruded into their residence. Fortunately, a vigilant neighbor intervened, warding off the entities with a shotgun and preventing further harm to the couple. Interestingly, both individuals eventually recovered from the ordeal, although Benedito continued to grapple with inexplicable episodes of melancholy for several weeks thereafter. The incident in question garnered the attention of numerous UFO enthusiasts and scholars who delved into the details. However, despite its prominence, it was just one of many occurrences that occurred on the island during that period. Interestingly, these sightings did not have their origins in the incident alone. They actually commenced as early as late April. Notably, while reports of similar Chupa Chupa beings can be spotted intermittently across Brazilian history in the 20th century, the turning point is often identified as April 26, 1977, marking the transition to a phase where the phenomena escalated in intensity. This specific date is pivotal in understanding the shift towards more aggressive encounters with these entities. On that particular night, just past midnight, a group of 4 fishermen found themselves on their small boat in the vicinity of Ilha dos Caranguejos, also known as the Island of Crabs. Unexpectedly, a bright and powerful light emerged and descended upon their boat, causing a moment of intense illumination. Subsequently, as per the accounts provided, the outcome of this strange encounter led to 2 fishermen sustaining severe injuries, with the unfortunate loss of one fisherman's life. This unfortunate incident marked the beginning of a series of escalating events and changes that would unfold in the aftermath. During the Ilha dos Caranguejos incident, which marked the onset of a series of events in the Colaris Islands area, a significant phenomenon unfolded. The absence of modern technology like the internet during that era, coupled with the region's existing isolation and limited communication infrastructure described as precarious, led to the majority of accounts staying confined to the local domain. In spite of their origin, whether local or external, the individuals in question displayed unwavering perseverance. As June unfolded, multiple newspapers from distant areas started to take notice of the reported incidents. This trend intensified significantly during the months of July and August in 1977, drawing increased attention from a broader audience beyond the immediate locale. The peculiar aerial phenomena witnessed on Colaris Island have stirred a sense of apprehension and fear among its residents, as recounted in reports detailing how these events have caused widespread unease among the populace. Witnesses vividly described encounters with an unidentified flying object that emitted a blinding light beam and allegedly extracted their blood. Additionally, numerous accounts mentioned sightings of unconventional Y-shaped crafts with fiery emissions at their base, cited by a substantial number of individuals. These occurrences have instilled such fear that locals have taken to staying indoors after dark, fearful of being targeted by these mysterious UFOs that purportedly emit an intense ray capable of causing severe burns on the skin of its victims. In the town of Pinheiro, there was a significant increase in sightings that drew widespread attention. This surge in sightings was so pronounced that the mayor of the town, Manico Paiva, took the proactive step of reaching out to the Aeronautics Command in São Luís for guidance on managing the situation effectively and preventing a potential eruption of panic among the residents. He said that the object did not emit any sound. It had a huge speed. It stops at any point and it follows in any direction. Many people fishing on boats were chased by this fireball and left many people sick. They had a fever and their eyes were burning. Following the communication, a report was forwarded to Belém Air Force Base. Nevertheless, the situation was on the brink of escalating further, with developments taking a more concerning turn. Throughout the month of July, Numerous reports from the past, often overlooked, depict encounters with peculiar aerial vessels known for their blood-sucking tendencies. Credit for unearthing these accounts largely goes to the diligent investigations of UFO enthusiast Daniel Robisso Giza, whose in-depth study of the Chupa Chupa incident sheds light on this phenomenon. The sightings predominantly clustered around the Gurupi River region, prompting Giza to coin the term Gurupi phase sightings to categorize these events. These obscure incidents hauntingly resonate with the mysterious behavior of these unidentified flying objects, sparking curiosity and speculation among those intrigued by the unknown. In July 12, 1977, the Jornal da Bahia newspaper detailed an intriguing account of a mysterious incident where a luminous, unidentified flying object was reportedly seen extracting blood from the residents, evoking genuine terror among the local population. The residents expressed genuine fear and anxiety, dreading the possibility of becoming the next prey to this vampire-like light phenomenon. The report further documented the unfortunate demise of 2 local individuals attributed to the peculiar blood-sucking luminosities. This peculiar incident not only stirred fear within the community, but also raised profound questions regarding the origin and intentions of the strange, luminous entity. Through a comprehensive analysis of the events, it becomes evident that the presence of such an unusual phenomenon deeply impacted the local community, leaving them in a state of unease and uncertainty. During the occurrences of these sightings, the local community would soon notice that the presence of flames, fires, or even something as minor as a lit cigarette would draw the attention of these luminous and perilous entities. An unforgettable event occurred in the Pinheiro region involving a farm where, at the request of the farm owner, a group of 26 labourers laboured late into the night to set up fences. One of the workers decided to venture to a nearby river to catch fish with the intention of providing a meal for the entire group upon completion of their tasks. This incident underscored the stunning allure of these mysterious glowing objects to the surrounding population, leaving a lasting impression on those who witnessed it. In the midst of his presence on the riverbank, a mesmerizing blue-white radiant light materialized in the expanse of the sky above him. Instantly gripped by fear, he hastily relinquished all his belongings and made a frantic retreat back to the safety of his companions. To his astonishment, the mysterious entity trailed closely behind, diffusing its ethereal blue luminescence onto the terrain beneath. Observing in awe, the group stood transfixed as the unidentified object lingered in the air for an approximate span of 45 minutes before gradually veering off into the distance, leaving an air of mystery in its wake. Several days later, João Barros, a 41-year-old individual, accompanied by 2 companions, engaged in a fishing expedition along a river in the vicinity of the São Bento area. At approximately around 1 in the morning, an inexplicable luminous entity materialized abruptly before their boat. The mysterious object emitted a red glow at its core, contrasting with a soft hue of light blue-green towards its periphery. This orb-like craft traversed in close proximity to their vessel before vanishing into the darkness. Notably, Barros, whose back was turned to the radiant presence during its passage, endured excruciatingly intense burning sensations on his back that lingered for several days thereafter. This extraordinary encounter raises questions about the unexplained phenomena that can occur in the remote natural settings, leaving those involved perplexed and seeking answers to the mysteries that unfolded that fateful night. In the vicinity of Mata do Olimpio, a comparable incident unfolded just like one previously reported. It was a typical evening when Antonio Olimpio, following his routine, ventured out of his residence to reach the outdoor lavatory. However, as he proceeded on his path, a luminous red entity suddenly materialized in the sky above. Overwhelmed by fear from the recounted tales, he swiftly pivoted and sprinted back towards his dwelling, calling out frantically for his wife. Despite his desperate attempts, just before reaching the safety of the doorway, he collapsed to the ground. At that critical moment, his wife, alerted by his distressed clamoring for assistance, rushed to his aid and managed to usher him back indoors. During this tumultuous incident, an inexplicable burning sensation afflicted him, searing his back, arms, and legs. Even with his wife's diligent efforts to alleviate his suffering by applying cold compresses, the scorching pain persisted throughout the remainder of that unsettling evening. It was quite evident to anyone spending a brief period in the vicinity during that period that the frequency of these occurrences was on the rise. This uptrend in the incidents was conspicuous and could not be overlooked. One television reporter by the name of Chinaldo Oliveira said that around 90% of the people they talked to had seen UFOs, and a lot of fishermen got burned. They were not serious burns, but the men were so afraid they did not want to go out to work. On a mid-July evening in the Ceará region, a harrowing incident unfolded, leaving a farm worker named Alfredo Marques Soares at the center of a perplexing encounter. As he strolled towards a friend's house, a sudden sharp sting pierced the back of his leg, prompting him to turn around swiftly, only to be met with the sight of a luminous yellow-white entity. Experiencing an inexplicable gravitational force immobilizing his leg, Alfredo found refuge by grasping onto a fence post nearby. What followed was a series of tumultuous sensations, alternating between waves of scorching heat and chilling cold, emanating from the mysterious object hovering before him. The intensity of the light was such that Alfredo had to shield his eyes intermittently, fearing the overwhelming brightness could potentially impair his vision. These puzzling moments of extreme temperature shifts and blinding luminosity encapsulated the eerie ordeal that unfolded in the tranquil night of Ceará. As the grip of the aircraft seemed to weaken slightly, the man's instinct kicked in, prompting him to release the post and start running despite the pain in his leg, which he managed to control. Seeking refuge under a cashew tree, he observed with fascination as the peculiar object soared high into the sky and eventually vanished from sight. Opting to abandon his initial travel plans, he decided to return home to thoroughly assess the condition of his aching leg. Upon closer inspection, he was taken aback by the severity of the bruising, which had darkened to the point of resembling a charred appearance. The contrast was so stark that it almost seemed as if his leg had been completely burnt. In light of this startling discovery, he realized the urgency of tending to his injury and ensuring proper care. The next day, his leg showed a worsening condition with numerous blisters and signs of rapidly progressing infections becoming apparent. In addition to this, he experienced severe stomach and back pains, enduring intense diarrhea for several days. While eventual recovery was on the horizon, the aftermath of the incident necessitated the use of crutches for nearly 3 months during his walking recovery period. Throughout this challenging period, he faced a multitude of health complications, indicating a serious and prolonged recovery process. In the midst of the intense trauma experienced by Soares, another significant encounter occurred a few days before, but of a more intimate nature. Another lesser-known incident that unfolded during the early hours of July 10, 1977, is that of José Benedito Bogea. The clock striking 1 in the morning marked the commencement of Bogea's fateful journey from his residence, aiming to reach the bus stop. Little did he know that this routine venture would soon spiral into an extraordinary occurrence. As Boga proceeded along the familiar path, his eyes were drawn to a luminous blue-green object suspended in mid-air directly in his path. Mesmerized yet apprehensive, he observed the radiant object for what seemed like an eternity until a peculiar beam of light emanated from it, targeting him with eerie precision. The sequence of events that followed would shape the course of Bogea's night into a tale that defied conventional explanation, leaving him grappling with the inexplicable encounter and its enduring implications. Upon regaining consciousness, he found himself in an unfamiliar room, surrounded by diminutive beings engrossed in their activities. Soon after, these creatures seized him and transported him to another peculiar location. As he gradually awoke, he discovered himself on the ground, the morning sun casting its light around 8:30 in the morning in São Luís, several miles away from his home in Pinheiro. A sharp pain coursed down the right side of his body, persisting as he laboriously made his way back. Despite his efforts, he struggled to walk comfortably for weeks post the incident. The exact whereabouts of his ordeal and the identities of those who relocated him remain shrouded in mystery. This encounter, however, appears to have been a common phenomenon in the area at that time. Following a noteworthy observation is the mysterious recovery of his impaired vision and hearing abilities. Subsequent to the event, he gradually became aware that his visual and auditory functions had miraculously restored to their optimal state. This unexpected revival of his senses posed a perplexing conundrum, indicating a significant shift in his physical condition. In early August, a surge in sightings and incidents emerged, eventually drawing the attention of the Brazilian military. The focal point shifted to the Salgado region, where numerous encounters mirrored those witnessed in the Gurupi River area during July. Strange lights would first be observed in the distance, only to swiftly approach closer, accompanied by a mesmerizing beam of light that inflicted intense pain. These events prompted a deeper investigation, unraveling further intricate details from the first-hand testimonies. The unfolding occurrences raised concerns and curiosity among both locals and authorities, leading to a comprehensive exploration of these perplexing phenomena. In a scenario where an individual is exposed to the primary laser beam, a secondary beam is observed to manifest from the original beam and come into contact with the observer, targeting specific body parts like the leg or arm. According to accounts from the vicinity, it is believed that these unusual beings extracted the individual's blood through this secondary beam. This peculiar occurrence suggests a phenomenon where the initial laser beam triggers a subsequent beam, which is manipulated by mysterious entities to perform blood extraction on the affected individual. The prevailing sense of fear and anxiety among the residents was unmistakable and prompted the newly elected mayor, José Ildone Favacho Soeiro of Vigia, to make a public announcement emphasizing the urgent need for proactive measures to be taken. He said that people were terrified because this beam of nightlight had already hit several people. The whole community was packed in only 3 houses, praying, sometimes singing some religious songs. In this specific area, and during the final weeks of August and early September, numerous sightings have been reported, with many of them leading to tragic outcomes, according to local accounts. One such incident involved a 45-year-old woman who encountered these peculiar illuminated spheres and tragically lost her life just 8 hours later. Another unfortunate incident occurred when a fisherman encountered similar glowing orbs while out on his boat, leading to his health deteriorating gradually until he passed away several days thereafter. The incidents described highlight the mysterious and potentially dangerous nature of these sightings during this period. Despite the lack of concrete explanations, these occurrences serve as poignant reminders of the unpredictability and unexplained phenomena that can sometimes unfold in this region during late summer and early fall. As the month of September progressed, the Colaris Islands witnessed a surge in unusual phenomena. The emergence of the mysterious Chupa Chupa phenomenon had stirred up conversations and speculations among the islanders. Numerous reports shared a common theme: sightings of luminous objects descending from the sky, approaching at alarmingly low altitudes. These unidentified flying objects often emitted green beams of light, capable of inducing paralysis or unconsciousness in those unfortunate enough to encounter them. Adding an eerie twist to these encounters, many individuals reported discovering peculiar markings on their bodies post-encounter, fueling their belief that these UFOs, for lack of a better explanation, had somehow extracted a notable quantity of their blood. The unfolding events on the Colaris Islands during that period left the community in a state of perplexity and unease as they grappled with these inexplicable occurrences. As the reports of UFO sightings continued to surface, a pattern emerged where the more widely known these accounts became, the more narratives surfaced, suggesting that the sightings were merely attributed to weather balloons or secret satellites. These explanations only served to incite anger among local residents who had endured nearly a year of fear due to the escalating sightings. Interestingly, UFO researchers, particularly those deeply entrenched in studying such phenomena, vehemently refuted these explanations, viewing them as attempts to cover up the truth. Delving deeper into the situation, it becomes apparent that even the individual overseeing the military operation at the time, as revealed 2 decades later, hinted at a hidden agenda. This revelation sheds light on the intricate layers of intrigue surrounding the events, hinting at a larger narrative beyond what was initially perceived. One possible conclusion to our examination of this extraordinary event could be found in an interview conducted by Captain Holland nearly 2 decades after the occurrences. This interview took place with UFO investigators José Guevard and Marco Antonio Petit. Their discussion shed light on the incident, offering valuable insights for those interested in exploring the depths of this intriguing phenomenon. Captain Holland's retrospective reflections, shared during this interview, provided a deeper understanding of the events that transpired 2 decades earlier. Delving into the incident initially, his primary objective was to seek a logical reasoning behind the reported sightings. Viewing the situation through the lens of the Air Force, determining any potential threats in the airspace was crucial for military awareness. Upon their arrival, they were quickly confronted with a series of peculiar occurrences. An initial observation was the disproportionate distribution of victims among the villagers, with a ratio of 8 women to 2 men out of every 10 individuals being affected. Additionally, the injuries sustained differed among genders, with women exhibiting wounds on their breasts and men on their arms due to exposure to the strange beams. The significance of these findings remains a topic for discussion and interpretation, raising questions about the underlying causes and implications of such occurrences within the community. The need for a deeper exploration and understanding of these events to shed light on their origins and potential impacts is evident, urging a comprehensive investigation and assessment of the situation to uncover the underlying truths and alleviate concerns within the village. Former French President Hollande maintained that even with numerous reports and personal observations, the concept of extraterrestrial presence did not rank as his prime consideration. In analyzing the events, a notable aspect that would capture Hollande's attention was the consistent targeting of the left side of the body during the incidents, specifically focusing on the arm or leg of female victims. This particular pattern raises intriguing questions. If we hypothesize that the motive behind these assaults on the inhabitants of the Colaris Islands was to extract blood from them, the curious alignment of the attacks with the left side of the body prompts us to consider the correlation with the heart located on the left side of the human torso. This observation adds a layer of complexity to the investigation, urging us to explore the potential symbolism or anatomical rationale behind the choice of targeting the left side in these unusual occurrences. Military physicians were tasked with the examination, documentation, and assessment of the burns and injuries caused by the unidentified flying objects. However, they refrained from administering any treatment. The recovery period varied among the victims, with some showing quick progress while others experienced prolonged healing processes. It was observed that individuals who encountered these peculiar luminous aircrafts inevitably faced some degree of health issues. The medical professionals meticulously studied and documented the injuries, but abstained from providing medical interventions. While a portion of those affected exhibited swift recuperation, others faced extended periods of healing. The incidents that occurred, whether they originated from a military or extraterrestrial source, were meticulously orchestrated with clear intent. The precision of the attacks extended to the disturbing detail of targeting victims while they were asleep. Moreover, while direct evidence of blood extraction was lacking, examinations revealed a correlation between the attacks and reduced hemoglobin levels in the hemogram of the affected individuals. These events were not random, but rather calculated and strategic in nature, indicating a deliberate plan behind the actions. The coordinated nature of the attacks and the specific timing of targeting individuals in vulnerable states suggest a higher level of organization and purposefulness. Tests conducted on the victims provided indirect evidence of blood removal through the observed decrease in hemoglobin levels.